We would like council to stand up for the environment and stand up for the people instead of caving to Genstar.
If your development is going to mean that everybody on this side of the hill is going to run out of water, then that's not a good thing.
The government is not taking the public's interest at heart. Instead, it is deferring to the developer. And as a member of cause and as a member of this society, we will not stand for this. We will fight it tooth and nail.
Tucked away in the deep forest at the base of Silver Hill and along the east shore of Silvermere Lake in British Columbia's Southwest Mission, houses and farms blend into the abundant vegetation and wildlife to form the unique rural community of Silverdale. With a population of just over 3,000, an aerial view of Silverdale yields hardly a human trace. Life here is simple, families of farmers going back generations, and newcomers who came here for the quiet way of life. They have no city water, and that suits them just fine. They have their wells, and they've been gathering around their mountain springs for over a century. In just 10 minutes at one spring, we met 5 different regular visitors, including this man who swears the pure spring water saved him from a hip operation.
No operation, nothing.
And you think it's the water?
Yes, this is water, yeah?
Not.
No medicine, nothing. This is my medicine. Uh-huh. Yeah, this is for me, it's best. It can cost me nothing.
But all this could be about to change, thanks to a planned mega housing development by one of North America's largest developers, Genstar. Known here as the folks who brought the infamous Mary Hill complex to nearby Coquitlam, and recently the Maple Crest development to Maple Ridge. This local man, who runs the historic Silver Hill Hall, worries his community will face a similar fate from what would be the largest housing development in Western Canada, with up to 4,900 new homes atop Silver Hill and dense housing on the ecologically sensitive Silvermere Island.
If Genstar's projects in the past have any indication, it'll look like Mary Hill. It'll be like urban sprawl, and I can see that.
Both developments threaten the local wildlife and residents' way of life. There appears to have been a breakdown in the democratic process, resulting in a severe erosion of environmental safeguards to properly protect the area. The threats posed by the Silvermere Island development to the local ecology are so grave that a former senior scientist for the BC Ministry of Water, Land and Air Protection, Dr. Marvin Rosenau, wrote a report condemning the development. The result? He was forced out of his position, informed by the Assistant Deputy Minister that local politicians were unhappy with him.
In respect to my original comments when I was still in government, I felt that it was a very destructive project. To date, I have seen no evidence that that position would have changed.
This is not the first time that Genstar has stirred controversy over the development of agricultural or environmentally sensitive land. Serious questions arose over Alberta's Big Lake and Winnipeg's Lindenwood's Phase 2 development, which also raised concerns over council's close relationship with the developer. And Genstar's Tualatin Valley Highway project in Oregon received a thumbs-down rating from the Sierra Club Sprawl Report. So these residents of Silverdale have banded together under the name Citizens Against Urban Sprawl Society, or CAUSE. They're speaking out against Genstar's plan, and the Mission City Council, they say, isn't looking out for its citizens or the environment. We extended an offer to Genstar manager David Keenan to comment for this video, but he declined, citing past media bias against his company. For these simple folk, the battle comes down to the most basic of needs: water, the lifeblood of a community and ecosystem. They're upset that the Mission City Council refuses to address drinking water as a part of the development's environmental base map process, and are afraid that their wells and springs will run dry from the proposed development above them.
From the very beginning, I said, where are you going to get water to double the population of Mission? And I've been patted on the head and told to run along because we're the district and we're handling it and we have lots of water. 2 weeks ago, Mayor Ferguson said in the Abbotsford Post, if the Genstar development comes online, Mission and Abbotsford will not have enough water to meet their needs, both communities.
This lifelong resident told us of the city's plan to shut down 2 historic community springs in advance of the development. The district says it's a health concern, but proffers no evidence to support this claim. One popular theory is by shutting them down before construction begins, no one will be able to blame the development for destroying the springs. Since filming this interview, the district has already gone ahead and shut down one of them, Keystone Spring.
We're from the if it's not broken, don't fix it farming type guys. And if nobody's got sick from this water.
Cause is afraid Mission Council is watering down environmental standards at the behest of the developer, which puts the community's rich wildlife at risk.
And instead of listening to the people, they've pushed ahead, they've disregarded us, and now they're even changing their own policies to fast-track the development and reduce the safeguards that we need to protect the environment.
One line in the environmental base map even suggests consultants should determine which animals are quote-unquote appropriate for an urban setting, a backward notion to many. This attitude towards wildlife has understandably ruffled feathers at BC's venerable Western Canada Wilderness Committee.
When we started looking at this project at the Wilderness Committee, we could not believe that Genstar was actually planning to put this number of houses on this absolute treasure for the environment, teeming with fish and wildlife, a significant population of black bears, black-tailed deer. There's been sightings of bobcats and cougars, and a lot of the animals are endangered. And of course, it is absolutely thriving with fish. This is incredible fish habitat here with all the streams. This is all going to be destroyed by this development.
The development on ecologically sensitive Silvermere Island is perhaps the most alarming, as Dr. Rosenau explained in his ill-fated report.
I know of no other area in southern British Columbia where in the center of a very rich wetland area you plunk a subdivision right in the middle of it. And to me, that seems extraordinarily destructive.
Environmental threats aside, folks here are also concerned that when Genstar's done with their projects, they'll barely recognize their community.
And, the one that's most important to me is peace and quiet, and that's why I moved out here. And what's going to happen with this development, it will ruin the quality of life in this area.
I just can't imagine having, a cul-de-sac with cookie-cutter houses next to our property. When that time comes, I'm sure I'll be out of here, and I'm sure a lot of other people will be out of here.
There's also the economic concern that taxes will increase for all Mission residents thanks to these developments.
The problem is, we don't have the infrastructure right now to support that population. We don't have the sewage facilities, certainly we don't have water up here. Personally, I'm on a 6-foot well, I have a spring. But the thing is, who has to pay for this? Who's going to pay for this?
The only person who will pay for that development are the residents of Mission right now. Taxes will go up.
As this member of Cause notes, traditionally new residential developments don't pay for themselves in added tax revenue, so council applied to remove 138 acres from the ALR to build what it terms employment lands at the base of the hill, likely a strip mall style development, an odd fit for this community, and requiring the removal of vital agricultural land to build. Thankfully, the application has been shelved for now. But perhaps one of the most troubling aspects of this deal is the disregard it demonstrates for local citizens. At this public meeting on the environmental base map, when a series of residents rose to ask questions about the environmental assessment process and concerns like what would happen to their drinking water, council seemed evasive at best.
The aquifer recharge points on this map here are not identified, and it doesn't seem like they're even important.
I just worry about, my well running dry, and as a result of living below this development.
I sense a kind of adversarial thing, like we're not serving the community right if we ask these questions. That's when we should ask the questions, is now, and we should continue to ask them.
One longtime resident drew the inevitable comparison with Mary Hill.
How can one trust a company that is capable of building such a monstrosity? When I drive by, I roll my eyes.
I sense that this whole process is characterized by hurry and haste. Such a complex document to give comments today, tonight, after the meeting. You don't want to accept any after today. I think
that's incorrect. I haven't put a deadline as
the form that we have, and I picked this up tonight, the comments received after the meeting will not be considered for input into the staff report. But what does that tell you?
That's up to council to accept that. I believe that we can have comment until Friday at
Your worship, it speaks to my point about haste and hurry. Okay.
Cause is also concerned about a potential conflict of interest, given that the original environmental base map consultant was hired by Genstar, not the municipality. Furthermore, as this member of Cause told us, the consultant who performed the peer review of the base map found that only 2 of 5 critical headwater locations were accurate.
The district itself seems to be in bed with the developer. I can't find the line, the boundary line between the district and the developer. They sit in meetings together, and the proposals that come forward are proposals that staff and the developer seem to have worked out together. The timeline that is being proposed is a timeline that is suggested by Genstar. No input from the citizens seem to be taken into account in the preparation of the environmental base map.
But it was perhaps a comment by a Genstar employee that gave the most telling insight into the issues of governance and threats to the environment and community by the proposed development. Nick Cuff of the Wilderness Committee explains.
They say they're going to be able to save it, but even their former manager, Jeff Krall, when he was talking to the Abbotsford Times, says that if they had to follow the fish regulations as they are to the letter of the law, they would not be able to build. Well, right there is an indication that they should not be building in this environmental treasure here on the hill.
To the folks of Silverdale who want to keep this, their home, from turning into this, that's precisely the right idea.